Anyway, Ezekiel wrote in this case, "He came by a short while ago, asked me to watch the pups again. I said okay, but then he exploded and accused me of horrible things, screaming at me for over an hour, while dogs shivered and huddled beside me in fear. He started by talking about the police driving all the homeless out of the Castro, people approaching him and saying, 'Those dogs need to be rescued off the streets. He's not taking proper care of him.' I tried to tell him he needs to not let idiots upset his world. He can handle things better. Then he lashed into blaming me for being a phony activist. If I cared about him, I'd have him staying over, blah, blah, blah. I just sat there while he went on and on and on, sometimes interjecting, 'Doesn't he have some chores to do? The pups will be fine with me.' I also said he's talking bullshit, playing the drama queen again, blaming others for their cruelty when he himself has also been very mean to me from time to time. Then he said when I talk phony like that, he wants to kick the shit out of me, and ranted on loud for another half hour. 'You think this is game, don't you?' He scowled. 'Well, it's not, and I don't think I can take everyone's bullshit anymore, especially yours.' He also accused me of hanging out in my room while the doggies were outside, which isn't true. Told me his homeless friends said they didn't see me with them at all. I rebutted by saying it's a lie and he's making all that up. Deke, D-E-E-K, not Zeke. Deke even screamed that he's going to get me evicted, even if he has to go to jail for doing that, and a whole bunch of other horrid stuff. I told him several times to stop screaming. He's hurting the dogs. 'I don't care, he hollered back. 'Well, you should,' I replied, which holding Flacco and Lucky close to me. He finally departed, and I ran upstairs to take a piss and bring a couple of doggy blankets back down. Wouldn't you know it, Watson, probably like that. He came back while I was upstairs and started hollering, 'Zeke Kralin,' several times before I stepped back outside and saw him riding off on his bike with doggies in tow. So I called out, 'I just had to use the bathroom, Deke.' 'Fuck you! Fuck you!' was his only response as he disappeared up Market Street, his way of wanting to accuse me of leaving the dogs out there by themselves. 2 days ago, he also started screaming at the top of his lungs when I told him he needs to not let the dogs shiver at night. He told me to shut up. He doesn't want to hear it. Get out of his face. I did not. I just stood there and pointed to Flacco. 'You're scaring her, Deke, with your screaming.' I then stopped down to pet her, but he yanked her away and screamed, 'Don't touch my dogs, faggot.' I admonished him, 'Don't do that to her. She's a sweet doggie. That's a fucked up thing to do.' He then leapt up and tossed a faux swing at my head. I ducked with an arm held up, but refused to go. So he then picked up the 2 meals I brought the doggies, the bowl of water, and set the mutts atop his cushioned cart and marched off in anger. He didn't notice he dropped his small battery pack in the street, so I ran up to grab it, then caught up with him and said, 'You dropped this.' He said thank you, but kept pushing forward like a madman. There's a whole bunch of other things I plan to report, but Deke is moving so fast in a bad direction I can't keep up with it, so I just churned this out to get something to you. Oh, yeah, he also tossed into the mix how he can't do a lot of things with the dogs always around. He loves them very much, but he's got to give them up. Accused me of making up the lawsuit because I don't really want to have the dogs over anymore. Well, we'll see what happens next. There's a lot of activity there. Ow! That's the first time I've cut myself on a piece of paper in years.